Hey everyone, welcome to the 26th episode of the Wheels to Walking podcast, a podcast with a guy in a wheelchair and a guy not in a wheelchair.
What up?
You're gonna have to create like a new like cadence to saying what up every time. Like maybe you'll beatbox what up one time, be like what.
Hey, don't give away all my secrets, bro.
Or you'd be like, ooh, what up? Or you'd be like an opera singer, be like, oh, what up?
That sounds like a good idea. I'll come up with some good ones.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Hey, I just want to let everyone know that I am currently, if you notice, I am very easily swiveling back and forth. And that has to do because I am not in my wheelchair. I am in a wheeled chair because I got a flat. And currently, all the bike shops are closed and Amazon won't deliver it until like May 15th. So don't know what I'm going to do. I think I found a bike shop that has the right tube, but I won't know until I get there and have them put it in my trunk and then try to fit it on my wheelchair.
They're going to put a tube in your trunk?
Yeah, we're going to put a tube. We're going to have a stranger open up my hatch, put a tube in the trunk, wink, you know what I'm saying? And
Well, we already know you're used to having tubes shoved in you, so I guess that it's nothing new.
yeah, I was so mad. It was such a nice day yesterday, and I was stuck deep in a rabbit hole of research, and like, you know when you go cross-eyed after just like staring at a screen for too long? You know what I'm talking about, Andrew. And then
I don't stare at screens. I don't know what you're talking about.
yeah, and I was like getting to the point where I was like, I cannot keep typing. Like my brain is melted. I gotta get out of this apartment. I gotta get away from screens. I gotta go do something. So I went for a roll, went for a push, and managed to run over some glass. So that was nice. Glad that happened. And you know what's so funny is someone literally messaged me on my Instagram maybe, I don't know, a week ago. My time is so confused. So maybe it was a week, maybe it was a month. I don't know. Being like, hey, man, I just got some air tires. What's your backup plans for, tubes and air pumps? And I was like, oh, well, I got this, like handheld compressor that's pretty cool. But, I've never, got a flat. So, I'll probably just, maybe that's a good idea. Maybe I'll get some more tubes. And I didn't, but I should have, apparently.
Apparently, you should have gotten some tubes, and apparently, then you wouldn't be having this problem, and apparently, my grandpa wants me to go on the super slide.
Yeah. Well, like, I used to wear solids specifically for this reason. Solids were no flats. You never have to inflate them, but solids...
You rocked solids for, like, years, right?
Oh, yeah. I rocked solids for so many years because they're a little bit heavier. I mean, but it's not a big deal.
Do you think it's going to change anything now that you've like gotten a flat and you're like, fuck this, I'm going back to solid?
No, because I still kind of like pneumatic a little bit. I remember it was our friend Ryan Baker who convinced me out of the solid tires because I've got carbon blade wheels,
and he's like, that's go.
He's
go
like, this is the equivalent of putting monster truck tires on a Porsche. He's like, why would you have lightweight wheels and then put giant, heavy, clunky tires on them? And I was like, to avoid flats. And he's like, okay, then get regular wheels then. And I was like, okay. And also, you can feel pretty much every little bump. I mean, he always used the analogy of like, you could run over a credit card and feel it, which is not wrong. You pretty much feel everything you run over.
Including glass.
Including what now?
Including glass.
Including glass. Yeah, and it was so I was so annoyed, man, because it was like right next to a construction sign that was all like bendy and floppy, and I went to whack it and I was like, I'm gonna check its flexibility, just being stupid and goofy. And then all of a sudden I hear I'm like, oh cool, there it goes. Nice.
That sucks.
And to everyone listening on audio, I'm sorry.
I think they got the tire exploding ASMR. That was good.
Yeah.
So what did you do after you had the flat tire?
So I was with Jalila at the time, and
so you weren't just by yourself. I thought you were by yourself.
Yeah, I had her meet up with me because I wanted to go for a push. The day before, Anas and I went for a little adventure around the neighborhood, and we found some like really cool like paths that had been abandoned behind an abandoned like office building that was like an old Cox building, so it had been abandoned for like a long time.
Cox.
Yeah, and well, it was before Comcast / NBC bought Cox Cable and just merged it. But anyway, so there was like some cool stuff, but it's not far, but it's not close either. And I was trying to go back there, and then I popped the tire, and I was like, okay, cool. So and since the wheels are carbon fiber, I didn't want to roll on them with a flat. So I asked her if she could go back to her place and grab her car and then drive back. And in the process, I like did a bunch of research on like the right kind of tube and where to get it from, and you know how much it cost, and you know it was like the best place to get it is gonna be like 4 weeks. Or like
I wonder if
3
there's
weeks.
like anyone in the community that like is local that like works at a bike shop or works on bikes or something like that could be like, yo, I can like bring one over to your house, like, you know what
Well,
I mean?
there's a guy.
Like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a guy in my building that has one, but he's staying somewhere else right now. There's also 2 big like wheelchair manufacturer type places nearby, and like nearby within like an hour. I mean, and not manufacturers, like a DME type place, and they don't have the one that I'm looking for, and there's a bike shop that has one, I think. I ordered it last night. It said it was in stock, but when I called them this morning, they were like, I don't think we carry tubes like that. I'm like, on your website, it said it was in stock. So I ordered it and I paid for it. He's like, I don't know, man. We might have to order it in. And I'm like, well, if you order it in, cancel it because I'm going to go find it somewhere else to find it. Like, I'm not going to wait for you to get something shipped to you so I can go pick it up when I could just get it shipped to me. God, I hate that so much. Like, I hate that so much whenever I order something from a company and they're like, well, we don't have it, so we're going to order it from another company and then we're going to bring it to here so then you can pay us instead of paying them. It's like, no, just don't be a middleman. Don't be a fucking scummy ass middleman and just be like, oh, sorry, we don't have it, but these guys do. Go get it from them. Like,
yeah, but I think there's I mean, with a lot of cases, they don't do their like a lot of manufacturers don't do any shipping direct to customer. Like, they don't want to deal with customers. That's the whole point. That's why they do retail, because they're like, we don't fucking want to deal with retailers. Like, it's kind of like in Breaking Bad. Like, if you're making like 38 pounds of meth, you're not trying to go out and sell to individual people. You're trying to sell to a distributor who's then going to do the dirty work of dealing with the annoying customers. Because a lot of people that are in that space don't want to fucking deal with customers. That's the whole point. Like,
True.
That's why they use a middleman, because they don't want the hassle. And then the middleman, they're getting paid and paying the extra because they're having to do with customer service and returns and all the bullshit of dealing with the messy work of dealing with actual humans versus a manufacturer who's just like, we're really good at making the product. We don't want to fucking talk to people. If you want to stock our stuff, awesome. If you don't, cool. You know what I mean? That's the purpose of it, I feel like.
yeah, that's if they're ordering it from the manufacturer, but I'm talking about people that just order it from another store.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's like, what the fuck? Like, you're just going to order it from another place and then mark it up and give it to me? Like, fuck you. Like, I don't know. I have such a disdain for middlemen that inject themselves into places that don't exist. They don't need to be, and the only reason they're there is just to collect money from, oh, well, there's a finder's fee, and oh, well, there's an upcharge, and oh, well, there's a delivery fee. Shut up. Just shut up. On a related note, your boy's been balding. I haven't been talking about that too much because, one, kind of ashamed of it, and two, I don't want to acknowledge that it's real. But it's real.
Because I'm a little bit insecure.
Yeah, I mean, this is the series of events over. I think ever since I probably started experimenting with steroids to get my leg strength back, probably like 3 years ago, did it thin out just a little bit. It thinned just a little bit.
Is that one of the side effects of steroids?
Yeah. Too much testosterone in your system can create thinning.
That's weird because I feel like testosterone would make you grow tons of hair. Like
it does, but you lose it from your head and then you gain it in your beard and your armpits and your back and your balls and your ass, and it's weird. It's like because there's a certain type of there's a certain type of testosterone called DHT that when it gets in your scalp, it like kills the hair. That's why some of the shampoos have like DHT eliminating properties or whatever. But so I knew I had caused some damage. That was one of the consequences that I knew was going to happen as a result of, you know, gaining muscle mass and using the steroids. But I've been off those things for a long time, like probably 2 years, maybe even longer. I don't even remember, to be honest. Maybe it's been a year, but I feel like it's probably been 2 years. Maybe a year and a half. Not
but
important.
You're still
but
on human growth hormone, right?
No.
Or what do you anything?
I just take regular like testosterone replacement therapy, which is like 100 milligrams of Test C every week, just to keep my levels normal. But when I was going through cycles, there was some times when I would even have upwards of like 900 milligrams a week.
Wow.
Like, I mean, that was a massive dose that I only did for a very short period of time at the very, very end of a very, very long cycle. So don't anyone get any crazy ideas. But I knew some thinning or whatever. And then I got hit by the car and, you know, had all the surgeries and had a bunch of stress and, you know, was on, you know, blood thinners. And then I went to the, you know, hospital because I had a blood clot and then had to be on more aggressive blood thinners. And then, you know, the stress from all that through my body, I thought was like the reason for like my hair falling out. But like every time I took a shower, I had like on my hands would just be just like piles of just hair and like in the roots and stuff. And I'm like, what in the hell is happening? Like, I haven't changed anything in my life really. Like, for the most part, everything's still consistent. I mean, yeah, the Rona's here. Yeah, there's not a lot of exercise. Yeah, my diet's changed a little bit. But for the most part, like, everything's the same except for like these blood thinners. So I did research and I just typed in Google. I was like, medications that cause hair loss. Like, I didn't want to guide my findings by typing in like, do blood thinners cause hair loss? Because that will definitely bring up a result of a positive. So I and like the number one thing was like blood thinners, primarily warfarin and heparin. And I'm like, oh, cool. The two that I'm using. And it was like, and basically it's been studied since like the 40s. Hair loss is like a huge thing with this drug. Like, people from all different, like males and females from all different ages, like, we're like, oh, I lose it in the first couple of months. People are like, oh, almost immediately. But I did a bunch of research on it. And I was like, I got to get off this shit. So I like found a way to have a doctor do like a telemed like appointment with me, which lasted like an hour. It lasted really long because most appointments are, you know, 15 minutes, sometimes 30 minutes. But I finally got switched over to a different. How was that,
by the way? What did they do? Like, jump on a Zoom call or something with you?
That's all it was. We were just on Zoom. We were just chatting on Zoom. And basically, we did all the regular things we do inside of a appointment except for like vitals. So like usually they check your vital signs and log that, and like
was he
they
just
weigh
like chilling
you.
at his house or something?
No, he was in the office.
That's cool.
Yeah, he was in his office, and so we just got the chatting, blah blah blah. And it was funny because I told him like the whole story, and I was like, hey, like the goal of this call is to like get off warfarin and Coumadin. Like, I don't want to go to the hospitals and get checked for my blood anymore. That's too risky. I'm like, my hair is falling out. I'm like, you know, I don't want to do this anymore. And then he spent like 30 minutes giving me solutions about how I could stay on warfarin. He was like, okay, well, first for the hair loss, you'll take some biotin and some, you know, vitamin B and some iron. And I was like, well, I take a multivitamin, so I'm good there. And he's like, and, you know, we can get you a at-home testing kit. And I'm like, hey, you're really not listening to me. Like, the point of this call,
I don't want to be on these meds.
I was like, you're trying to help me find a solution to stay on them. I'm trying to tell you I want off of them. And so we just went back and forth and we had conversations. And then basically he wants me to be on the new ones for 2 weeks, go get some blood work done, which the closest blood work lab is, again, in a hospital. So I'm like, fuck that. I'm going to take a road trip to the lab that's furthest away. So
yeah.
That'll give me something to do, where I'll just go on a drive for like, I don't know, an hour to go hit up some lab core in a rural
Honestly,
area.
that'd be kind of fun. Right about
yeah,
now.
Literally give me something to do. And then I got to go in 2 months get scanned again to check and see the progress of the clot and see if it's smaller. But the point of the blood work is apparently, so we still don't know why I'm clotting, right? Like, yeah, I'm a paraplegic that has the chance of clotting. Yes, I've got the filter. Like, the filter, IVC filter, could be the reason why I have the blood clot, or the IVC filter could be the reason I'm not dead because of blood clots. Like, we don't know if it's the cause or if it's the savior. That's kind of like the gamble you get with a filter. And you know, like, we don't know. So I guess there's some genetic factors that like 1 in 5 people have where they've got a certain type of blood that like makes them clot really bad or something. But there's always potential that, again, some of that anabolic steroid use could have thickened my blood to the point where it started to clot a little bit, because blood with hormones in it is thicker because it's more nutrient rich. It's more dense, and it's got hormones in it. So like that's also a factor too. There's a lot of factors to it, but I don't know, man. I'm just kind of rolling with the punches as best I can, but I'm really concerned about going bald at 31. I'm 31.
My grandpa on my mom's side started balding in college. He was like 18, 19, and he was like fully bald by like the end of college.
Ouch. I feel bad for those guys. The guys that bald like the second.
My friend Alex is like that too. He just started shaving his head when he was like 20. Like he just said fuck it, and now he's just the hat guy. He always just wears a hat.
It's like Bradley.
Most people don't even realize that he's bald. Like because they're like, whoa. Like when he takes his hat off, they're like, whoa. Cancer? Like they literally don't know.
It's like Bradley Martin and like Peter Voog. Like both of them are always wearing like the flat bill hats with like.
Wait, is Bradley Martin bald?
Oh, he's bald as shit. Yeah.
I feel like I've seen him with hair. When did he shave it? He's been shaved for a long time.
I think so.
Is it because of the steroids, you think? Or just
I mean,
combination
it could be a million reasons, yeah. But it was funny because it was like he made a video that was like my biggest insecurity, and it was like he took off his hat and like showed off his head. And he's like, a lot of you guys have never seen this before because I'm always wearing a hat. I'm covering this thing up.
Adam from Mind Pump ended up shaving his head. He's bald now.
Wasn't he the guy that was dealing with...
Yeah, but he just said, fuck it. He's like, I'm sitting in this like, red light therapy thing, blah, blah, blah. It's going to go eventually. I'm just going to shave it. I mean, I feel like most guys are kind of like that. It's like, instead of like worrying about it, just embrace it. Like I feel like a lot of people end up doing that.
Like Bezos said fuck it and shaved it off, and then Elon said fuck it, I'm getting hair treatments, because Elon in his 20s was going bald, dude.
Was he?
If you guys if you've not seen
I've seen
Elon
some
Musk
old videos when he was like still with PayPal and stuff.
Oh yeah, he was like,
he was such a dork wearing those like goofy ass oversized suits and stuff.
Yeah, man.
Gosh dang. Yeah, it's also another Breaking Bad reference. Walt just says fuck it, he starts losing his hair in the shower and he just shaves it off.
Yeah, that's true. I think some people they try to save it till they can no longer save it anymore, and then they just say fuck. And then they just say fuck it.
I mean, that's kind of what you got to do, unless you're going for the monk look, and no one wants to do that. The freaking cul-de-sac on your head.
Yeah, but I'm beautiful, Andrew, and I'm on camera. I'm a person on camera, and I'm beautiful. Like, I gotta have nice hair. Oh,
I know.
Come on.
Look at Randall Blizzard. He's a beautiful man. He's got a nice shiny head.
Randall got an upside down head. He got a big beard.
Have upside down head. He's got the big beard underneath. He makes up for it in beard than what he has on the top. But no, dude, I think you could pull off the bald look. I mean, honestly, even just looking at you right now with the headphones on, like I could see you rocking the Mr. Clean.
As long as I had a good beard, I could pull it off. I think if
you have a nice clean look, I mean, you always have a nice clean beard. I feel like you could rock it. You go to the barbershop and you're like, like you got no hair, but you're going to the barbershop to get your beard trimmed.
That's a thing. People do that.
I know. It's just funny. No, I could definitely see it. But speaking of barbershops,
yeah, I know, right?
They're starting to open up. What do you think about that? Or I guess
crazy,
in Georgia.
Man.
In Georgia, Brian Kemp is proposing that on Friday, so the day that this is going to be released, he's potentially opening up, or he's saying that these places of business are allowed to open up barbershops, gyms, I think restaurants and
I'm looking
bowling
it up right
alleys.
now.
The funniest one to me is bowling alleys. And I saw a really funny Facebook status that someone posted, and it was like, guys, please, even with Brian Kemp's new rules, please stay home if you can help it, unless you really need to go bowling.
I'm trying to find it right now. I can't seem to. I'm looking at all of the like
I can
web
find it real
pages.
fast what they're talking about, but basically a lot of people are very against this. A lot of people are very for it. I mean, we've seen a lot of protests happening around the country with people that really are wanting the country to open back up. They're saying it's unconstitutional, blah, blah, blah. So he's allowing gyms, fitness centers, barbers, hairdressers, nail salons, massage therapists, expecting that they still practice social distancing, regular sanitization, testing workers for the flu, and teleworking where possible. So for what I know, like my friend, she works at a salon, and she put out a thing saying, hey, the salon is opening back up, but we're only going to have limited hours. We're going to have limited workers. Everyone who comes in to get their haircut needs to be wearing a mask. We're checking all of our employees' temperatures when they come in. Everyone's expected to wear gloves. Everyone, every time you get a new client, you take off your gloves, you take off your mask, you throw them away, all that kind of stuff. And I think that's, pretty responsible. I don't know, what the long-term effects of this are going to be, but I mean, if people have been properly social distancing and staying home for the past month, I mean, it's been we've been in this order here in Georgia for the past month, over a month, and I think that it's not necessarily a terrible idea. I don't know if opening up everything is such a good idea, but opening up a few places, I mean, I think it kind of makes sense. What do you think about it?
So it's a plan for a temporary rollout, right? So he's starting with things like gyms, restaurants, barbershops, bowling, clubs, tattoo
Those seem like
studios,
terrible places though, because it's like a social gathering.
Like eyelashes and nail salons, and like it's a lot of like self-grooming stuff. It's weird, and I would be okay with it if the science supported it, but currently the cases in Georgia are not flattening at all. They're going up by the hundreds, if not thousands, every day. And the reason why the numbers aren't climbing the way they're climbing is because we are social distancing, because things are closed down. They are shut down. And, I think, honestly, it's a way that, like, he can get away with not having to pay businesses that stimulus, because he'll be like, oh, well, I mean, you could work if you want to, I don't have to pay you and your unemployed employees anything because, you're the one who's choosing not to go back to work.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a way that they can
I think it's
not do unemployment. You're probably right.
Because the Atlanta mayor's like, fuck this. This is stupid. Like, no, like the science says that this is not a good idea. Like, we haven't even hit our peak yet, and you're about to open up the floodgates. And I got a message from our gym that was like, hey, we're opening back up, but there's going to be some new guidelines in place, and these are all the things that we've been doing. Like, we've updated the air filter and we have more cleaning supplies. But one of the things they said was weird is like, we're only allowing one guest per 200 square feet. And I'm like, so you're going to allow 20 people to work out? Like what? Like, it doesn't make
for 200 square feet?
Yeah, you get one person per 200 square feet. Granted, we've got a big gym, but do the math on it. That's not a lot of people working out at one time. I don't know.
We'll have to see.
Like the saunas are shut, the hot tubs are shut, the pool is shut. Like the
sauna was the only reason why I wanted to go back. Are you serious? That sucks.
Yeah, read the email.
I didn't see it. That's great.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this has nothing to do with, democracy or Democrats versus Republicans or whatever, but it's like, from what I've seen, is when you're a Republican, you're usually someone who's also pretty financially conservative, or you have some type of wealth to you. So your quality of life,
but yeah,
Exactly. I didn't say, yeah, exactly.
I'd say there's a lot of poor people that are conservative. Very, 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 very Trumper. And they do not have money.
I'm talking about the people that are making the decisions, like the politicians and stuff. They're the ones that are going to get hit the hardest if businesses keep staying closed. So it's almost to me like a money thing. It's like, we're trying to save the economy and it's okay if a few people die because of it. And like I don't agree with that. And there's even this other person I've been following on my Facebook, and he has a lot of really great valid points, except for he doesn't understand one particular thing. It's that he can carry his disease from one person to another. He's like, if you're too afraid to go out, then you don't go out, but don't tell me I can't go out. If you're going to be a fear person who's going to wear a mask and gloves and be afraid of germs, then fine, then you don't go out, but I'm going to go out and I'm going to let my businesses be open. And in my head, I'm like, yeah, dude, that makes sense. Like, I would probably be on your side if it was a matter of like, it only affected you personally. Like, if it affected
that's the biggest thing.
It's like your personal freedom and your personal body. And I get a kick out of all these people that have been pro-life their entire life, and now they're pro-choice. Like, my body, my choice. I want to go outside and do whatever I want. And if I get sick, then that's no big deal. And it's like, hey, fuckers, you're gonna get other people sick. You're gonna kill other people. You're gonna totally smash our entire hospital system. And it's like, I feel like Atlanta is going to be what Philadelphia was back in the Spanish flu. Like, Philadelphia waited too late to close and opened up way too goddamn early. And so many people died. Whoever's got their phone on vibrate, I don't know if that's you. Whoever's got their phone on vibrate, turn it off. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fucking the thing about it with the people that are going out and saying like, oh, well, if you don't want to go out, then blah blah blah. I mean, it is kind of true in some regards, because yeah, they're gonna get other people sick, but the people that because if we're still going out to go to the grocery store and stuff, then yeah, we are exposing ourselves to these dummies who are still going out and doing all that stuff. But if we are taking precautions at those places, we'll still be able to minimize it. I just think, I don't even know.
I'm on board with it. I just think it's too soon. Like, in the same way that like,
but when is not going to be too soon? I guess when we start seeing the flattening of the curve, actually.
Yes. So it's like, in the beginning, as we saw cases rise, we slowly started to shut things down. We slowly started to put implementations onto things. We slowly started to distance ourselves, and gloves and masks and hand sanitizers and, cleaning supplies and cleaning equipment, and businesses shut down and everyone further apart. And I think that's fine. I think we should do the reverse of that when it's appropriate. I think it'll be appropriate when we start to see a flattening of the curve and we start seeing cases go down. When we start seeing cases go down, then yeah, sure, let's slowly start to open the economy. Let's slowly start to get businesses and stores, happening. But I just get frustrated when some people make decisions that are clearly decisions that are like, rich people live, poor people die. It's very much like this whole thing where it's like, oh, well, we just need to save the economy.
I don't think the rich people are the ones protesting, bro. It does not seem like the rich people are the ones out there yelling and hooting and hollering on the street. Seems like a bunch of stupid white trash people. Hate to say that slur, white trash, but I'm white, so I guess I can say it. It feels like a lot of the people out there protesting are the ignorant people who are like, I don't want the government telling me what the fuck to do. I mean, I could be wrong, and I could be stereotyping, and whatever. I agree with you on certain parts where it's like, yeah, probably a lot of these politicians that are making these choices are wealthy, but I think a lot of these people that are protesting are not necessarily super wealthy. I think the wealthy people are scared as fuck because they don't want to get sick, and they're holed up in their beautiful homes. Like, and they do have the resources to be able to not work for a couple months. Like, I mean, yeah, they're probably business owners and they want to open up their businesses, but it doesn't really seem like the very wealthy people I know are like really freaking out and protesting this stuff. It's typically a bunch of dummies that like I knew from high school. You know what I mean?
So let me rephrase that then. So I'll remove the wealthy factor to it. The way I see it is that Karen is pissed off that she can't go get Baskin Robbins. Karen doesn't want to go to work. Karen wants all the fucking peasants that work at Baskin Robbins to get back to work so she can have her goddamn ice cream.
True.
That's how I see it. I see it's like they're not protesting because they want to get back to work. They're protesting because they want everyone else to get back to work so they can continue to live the life that they want to live. It's not that they're trying to argue like you don't see the people that are working service industry jobs like protesting. You don't see that. Like the people that are like, no, listen, I don't want to be around people. I don't want to get sick. I don't want to die. Like, yeah, I'm losing a bunch of money. I might not be able to pay my rent this month, but like, I ain't trying to die. But all these like
I do feel that.
Like
middle
when I
class.
Worked at
Dunkin' Donuts, I felt that for sure. That people are very entitled. They feel like it's almost like their God-given right to be able to go to Dunkin' Donuts and get their breakfast sandwich every morning or whatever.
Yeah, it's all the middle class, upper middle class, rich, ultra rich. They're the ones that are making the decisions and the ones that are protesting that are like, we want to work out. So all the people that work at the gym need to go there right now so we can get them sick because I want to work out. You know,
I think the ultra rich have gyms in their house, bro. I don't think it's that. I think it really is that lower middle class. It's not.
But I'm saying the
ultra
rich are the
ones. Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, I don't think that this is being motivated by money. In that regard, I think it's more motivation of, I want this. I want my haircut. I want to play golf. I want to go to Baskin Robbins, like you said. I don't necessarily think it's that much of a money thing because in reality, those are all things you need to spend money on. You know what I mean? It's not like they're saving money or whatever, but it's more just being selfish. I don't think it's necessarily a money thing. I think it's more of a selfish thing. That people don't care about anyone else. They're like, well, I've been quarantining for and I've been a good boy, and it's time that we wrap this shit up and open it all back up. I want things to go back to normal. That's the reason. That's the attitude I'm feeling.
The reason why I keep bringing in the rich and the ultra rich into this conversation is because we live in the United States.
What's rich and what's ultra rich? Let's clarify.
Well, let me finish, and I'm about to clarify. So You'd have to be dumb to not know that our political system is run by wealthy people and their businesses and their companies. Like, I promise you, the reason why Kemp is making this decision is because he's getting massive pressure from very, very wealthy people that have businesses here in Georgia that want to open up and they want to make money. They want to save their economy at the expense of their workers.
That's probably true. I'd agree with that.
All lobbyists make decisions, not politicians. Like businesses spend money to make laws change so that politicians are forced to do things. Like that's what I'm talking about when I say like it's like the people that are owners of multiple businesses and even like owners of multiple Fortune 500 businesses. Like those are the type of people, and even all of the businesses that are in the state of Georgia that are owned by, billionaires in other countries, like those are the type of things that there's all this pressure being put on. And again, because it's like these people are like wealth over humanity, like, oh, what's a few little replaceable worker bees? Like they're no big deal. Well, just let them die. We want to make sure the consumer keeps coming into our stores and we want to make sure the money keeps flowing into the stores. But if Jessica, who works at Starbucks, gets COVID and dies, no big deal. It's just Jessica. We can get a new barista in less than a week. Whatever. Fuck Jessica. Like that's what I'm talking about. That's the part where I say like, yes, it's the middle class and the upper middle class that are like, we want to go do stuff. We want to go spend money, and we haven't got our hair cut in over a month, and people need to go back to their jobs. Man. And it's like, then you have these big groups of people that are like, politicians that are like, we're listening to you, but we don't know if that's really a good idea. And then these majorly big, massive conglomerate, business owners, these very ultra wealthy rich people are like, hey, governor, there's a lot of people that are wanting to buy stuff from us right now. It'd be a shame if we didn't donate to your campaign next year. Be a shame. Be a shame if we didn't endorse you. It'd be too bad if we didn't do that. You know, it's like, it's an unfortunate reality of the way the United States political system works is on pure capitalism. It's on money.
Why do you think that Brian Kemp is the only
money.
person that's entertaining this idea then?
Well, Georgia prides itself on being best for business. Like, that is their slogan. Georgia, good for business, best for business. Like, the fact that we've pretty much like sucked in all of the LA like movie money making, like all the movie making money, a lot of manufacturing. Like, there's tons of car manufacturers that are here in Georgia now that moved here because there's major tax incentives. Like, that's like Georgia, good for business. So it's like Kemp is like, I've pretty much made my entire thing all about like Georgia, good for business. Like, all businesses come here and we'll make sure that we make you even more rich than you already are. And then this whole economy is going down, and it's like, and everyone's like, hey Kemp, we moved to Georgia, so we got our businesses here. What are you gonna do for us? What are you gonna do, huh? You know, you said move here. You said. And it's an election year too, so of course he's bowing to the almighty dollar. Of course, he's trying to save his ass. And it's like at the cost of human life. It's just an unfortunate reality.
Yeah, no, I feel that. I just think that I agree. I would agree with that. I think that he probably is having major pressure from the outside. It just seems weird that we're the first state. And I guess that makes sense.
I agree.
You're right.
I agree. But I think it's also we're a southern state. We're a dumb redneck state. Like, it's just an unfortunate reality. We live in the Bible Belt. Like, think about all the religious leaders that are like giving him pressure and protest, being like, we want to have a church service, and like, our church is going to fail if we don't get people in the pews and giving us money every week, and we can't spread the word of God. And, you know,
yeah,
like,
that's true.
Dude, there's so like, I'm scared because I think we're going to be the first state to get a second wave that's going to be extremely devastating. And by the time New York City is clearing up, we're going to still be fucked because we're going to have to basically restart this whole thing over again. And then the winter's going to come.
Do you think that,
and guess what? When the cold weather comes.
Do you think the business is opening back up, people are actually going to go to them? Like, you know, if gyms open up, are people going to go?
So I think there's a lot of business owners that are arguing and debating the fact if they want to even open up, because the thing is, they don't have to. They just have the choice that they can. But they also realize if they don't open up, they don't get any more aid. They don't get any more relief. Like, you cannot. So currently the government is giving out forgivable loans, which basically means that you take out a loan and you use that loan to pay employees until the restrictions are lifted. Once the restrictions are lifted, you don't have to pay back that loan. It's forgiven. You get free money to pay
As
people.
long as you're using it to pay your employees, yes.
As long as you're using it to pay your employees. And the reason why you would use it to pay your employees is because you're not allowed to open. Now that you're allowed to open, no more relief. You're not allowed to get relief anymore. Be like, oh, if you're struggling, just open up, right? Like, if you're struggling to keep your business afloat, the government's not going to give you any more assistance. You got to figure it out on your own. Tough luck. You know, I think it's another one of those things.
It's weird because, like, so think about this, though. So, like, for example, my dad, he owns a Dippin' Dots franchise inside of a mall. If the mall doesn't open, then he can't open. Malls can't open because they're large gatherings of people. You can't have a mall open right now. But he's technically a restaurant, right? Like, he's technically a food service place. It's not like people are gathering at his kiosk, you know? So it's like a weird thing where even if my dad wanted to open, he is paying his employees because of the relief, but he can't because the mall can't open. You know, it's a
complicated situation, man. It's complicated.
Yeah, it's weird. No, but my question was, do you think people are actually going to go?
Yeah, even if they absolutely. Open? Absolutely. I think the same people are going to go are the same people that didn't shelter in place for the last week. You know, so I went in when the shelter in place laws were put into place or whatever. It was like the 13th of March, and that's when that was a Friday. I remember it specifically. I went to the grocery store. I stocked up, and I remember coming home and be like, okay, cool, this is it. Like, we're doing it now. And some would even argue that might have been too late. Like, maybe I should have been in on the 10th or whatever. But it's the people that didn't go in until like
it, so.
Yeah, exactly. It's the people that didn't go in until the 20th. You know, it was only until they got shamed into going in. It was only until, like, you know, people and friends and family and social media, and it was like, what are you doing? Why are you going out? You killing people, you fucking murderer? You know, like, it was only until, like, society, like, shamed them to go inside. Like, I got a neighbor, dude, who's always, he hasn't slowed down. If anything, I'd say he's picked up. He's in and out all goddamn day. And the reason I know this is his door slams. Slam door in, slam door out, slam door in, slam door out. I don't know what he's up to. I don't know where he's going. I don't know what he's doing, but he's going to be one of those motherfuckers that's going to the bars and the club and the gym.
Well, the
and
other thing is some people are essential workers. They still have their jobs. They can't slow down. You know what I mean? Like, who knows?
Oh, he does his job on the phone. He's not.
Okay, well,
no.
whatever. Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, there is a possibility that he could be going in and out, but maybe he's going to his office and he's the only one there. You know what I mean? Like, who the fuck knows?
Possible. Who knows? And that's another thing that, like, I kind of get worried about is, like, I live in a building which is the equivalent of a house, meaning that we're all under one roof. The only thing that separates us is a door and a hallway and elevators. So all it takes is one dingus to fuck it up for all of us.
Well, I mean, one dingus did get it.
Yeah.
I mean, she wasn't a dingus, but...
Yeah, she's good. Everything's back to normal for now.
Is she okay?
That we know of. Yeah, she's fine. She's back.
Well, that's good.
I haven't seen her, but they messaged everybody and was like, "Hey, everything's good."
She's
yeah,
back,
but yeah, definitely. But
speaking of shelter in place.
I was gonna say, yeah. Speaking of the shelter in place, I'm actually pulling this up right now. So, have you ever gone somewhere new just to find out that you can't get into the entrance or fit in the bathroom? iAccess Life is a lifestyle mobile application that allows people to rate, review how accessible the parking, entrance, bathroom, and interior space of location is. iAccess Life was developed to provide peace of mind for people with physical impairments and their loved ones, while they seek new adventures and create memories. Download iAccess Life today for iOS and Android. Visit iaccess.life/W2W and use the code WHEELS today. Currently, they're doing the stay in place, rate in place for a good cause. They're still doing it. It's what they did last time.
Until like May 6th or something, right?
And yeah, but it'll be good until May 6th. And basically what you do is just open up your app, rate and review the favorite places from the comfort of your home and stuff you've been to before. It can be all the things we've just been complaining about.
You can reminisce on all the good places that you've been or all the bad places that you've been.
Or all the bad places that you've been. Yep. And then for every place rated by May 6th, they're going to donate $1 to Meals on Wheels America. And you can also learn more about that about iaccess.life/coronavirus-relief.
Coronavirus.
Yeah, but thank you guys for doing all the rating and reviewing that you've been doing. Thank you for all the downloads that you guys been doing. Please continue to support the companies that support Wheels to Walking.
Yes, iAccess Life. They're the shit. Go download, go rate and review. But you know what is one thing for sure, Richard?
What's that?
Carol Baskin fucking killed her husband.
Yo! Okay. Carol Baskin killed her husband whacked him.
Can't convince me that it didn't happen. Fed them to tigers, they snacking.
The one thing that really tickled my brain about that show that made me think a lot about it was all the straight guys that pretended to be gay for tigers, meth, and trucks. Like, that blew my mind. I was like, how cool do tigers have to be that you pretend to be gay, even get married?
Even like, I mean, not even just pretend to be gay, like you were pretending to be gay to the other guy. So how far does that go?
Yeah, like, exactly.
I'm just pretending. I'm taking it up my butt. I'm just pretending. Like, how far do you have to pretend before it's just like you're just being gay but don't like it? Like, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. I guess pretending, yeah, you don't like it. Like, it's not what your sexual preference is, but you're engaging in homosexual interactions.
Yes, and we don't know how far that is. We don't know what their sex life entailed, and honestly, I feel like someone like Joe probably ain't doing a lot of sex. He's busy. He
had one of those Prince Alberts. I don't know if you knew that. There was a brief moment in the show where he said that.
Oh God!
Which is when you have a piercing on the tip of your penis. So I don't even know. Yeah.
Yeah, that show is absolute wild. I mean,
Yeah, so we're talking about Tiger King if people didn't freaking know.
Yeah,
I mean, I think everyone kind of knows. The whole world kind of knows. It's weird because I watched I watched the Honest trailer. Like, you know how on YouTube there's the Screen Junkies, they make the Honest trailers or whatever? I think it's Screen Junkies. And one of the things they said was, if the quarantine was a month earlier, we'd all be making fun of the Goop Lab. But that flopped, and now we're talking about Tiger King. And I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. I'm so happy because I fucking hate the Goop Lab, and I loved Tiger King.
JonTron did a whole video
on Goop, yeah. It was great.
He did 2 of them. There's a new one out. Another one.
Oh, really? I need to watch the new one. I love JonTron. He's a goat. But so the Tiger King documentary, our boy Fred was like, yo, dudes, what the fuck? You haven't talked about Tiger King. Like, this is a podcast. You're supposed to be talking about current events. So you didn't talk about Tiger King. So now we're talking about it.
I think briefly when in Jesse's podcast, she mentioned about how she doesn't listen to it.
Yeah, I think she said she didn't watch it or whatever. I mean, it's whoever's choice. That's been an interesting thing to me when people are like, this is why I don't watch Tiger King. And it's like, okay, yeah, but you do realize watching Tiger King is not giving any money to Joe Exotic. Like, like Joe Exotic is a terrible person. It's like, yeah, did you watch the show? We all know that. Like, we're not saying we love Tiger King because we like and support these terrible people. We're watching it because we're all going, holy shit, what the fuck? This is real. These people are insane.
Yeah, I'm not watching trains crash because I like watching people die.
Yeah.
I don't support people dying, but I like watching.
If a train's about to run over someone, I'm watching.
Yeah, dude, like
it's literally like the saying. It's like you can't look away from a train wreck, like literally.
Yeah, someone's arm gets bit off by a tiger. They're back to work the next week. Someone, shows up wearing a bandana and a hat and a leather jacket and convinces Joe to like sign his park away. There's like a fake documentary, but then the whole building where the footage was gets burned down. He tries to murder Carol Baskin, and honestly, I would argue that Carol Baskin is just as bad as he is. The only thing that she does that he doesn't do is the cub petting. That's it. That's literally it.
Yeah. Well, he was also going around. Well, yeah. The cub petting was like going around to malls and shit. Yeah. The weird thing that she also says is that there's like cruelty at his place or whatever. Like the people aren't trained and like, they're feeding him off the Walmart truck and shit, blah, blah, blah. But they never talked about where Carol Baskin got her food for her tigers.
Yeah. Who's the other guy in the Carolinas? Doc, right? Doc. So
Doc Antle.
Doc Antle. You know what I was thinking? You know that post-Miami fight vlog that Logan Paul did where he went to North Carolina somewhere to dig for gemstones and play with tigers? It was at Doc Antle's place?
I'm pretty certain it was.
I was thinking about that. I wonder if he's like hidden
It's funny
that video.
because I don't know if you realize this, but those guys are really big on social media. Like the son, so Doc Antle's son, he's huge on social media, and he was barely in the documentary. He was only in it for a little bit. And since I think they filmed this for over years and years and years, he had like short hair. Now he has like long hair, and he's like this Tarzan type dude that's always got his shirt off and like holding up tigers on both of his arms and like doing all kinds of crazy shit. But he's got like a huge like TikTok following and Instagram following and all this stuff. It's very, very weird.
I wonder what Brother Nature thinks about this, because he also has a zoo / farm somewhere for like animals.
Yeah, who's Brother Nature again? He was like another kind
Brother
of guy
Nature he's like some black dude who like swims with tigers and lions and panthers in pools and stuff. He goes to Africa and like chases down poachers and like if you look up on his Instagram, it's called Brother Nature.
Yeah.
He's always the one who's like, picture, next to celebrities and animals. And I just think it's funny how they call it a zoo. Like, especially Joe's place is like, we got a zoo. I'm like, this doesn't seem like a zoo to me. This seems like an entire farm with a bunch of cages and animals. Like, this doesn't seem zoo-like to me.
What's actually funny is I looked up Logan Paul Tiger just now. And apparently in 2018, he also featured someone else that had a baby tiger, and it led to his arrest. And just on January 31st of this year, he got charged for a fine of almost $100,000 for the unlawful possession of a baby tiger cub.
The person that Logan.
And Logan, the reason why he got arrested was because he featured it in Logan's vlog in 2018. So this wasn't even the recent one. This was just like, I met a baby tiger cub or something like that. It was just like a vlog where they had like a baby tiger. So Logan has dabbled in the baby tiger. I mean, we know that he loves animals, but yeah. The weird thing is like, okay, the whole mistreatment of the animals, I can kind of get behind it where you're saying like, I mean, obviously those animals were definitely mistreated in the documentary, but I'm saying just like owning a baby tiger. It's like, okay, yeah, I do understand that they're wild animals. They should be let free. But like, are we mistreating like house cats? I mean, they want to like go hunting and stuff too, but we like keep them inside of our house. You know what I mean? Like, it's weird how we give preferential treatment to certain animals versus others. We're like, they belong in the wild, but not Fluffy. He can hang out with me. You know what I mean? It's like so weird.
I don't know if I have enough information to speak on this, but I get what you're saying. Like the idea of like, why are horses, cows, pigs, sheep, chickens, turkeys.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of vegans and stuff would probably say we need to let them go too, but
right. It's like, why do we eat those? Why is it okay that we have, dogs and cats and rabbits and lizards and snakes as pets, but not the tiger? I don't know. I feel like there's anthropological reasons. You know what I mean? I don't know enough. I'm not smart enough. I don't know enough about animals and animal rights, but I think also about like even SeaWorld too, like fuck SeaWorld, like they have, anyone who does any type of, captivity of animals to train them, to exploit them for money. I don't know. It just doesn't put a good taste in my mouth. But also, I feel like if I wasn't educated on the subject, I would probably go to Joe's Zoo because I get to see tigers.
Yeah,
I'd probably
totally.
go to SeaWorld. I'd probably go to SeaWorld to see a killer whale.
I've been to SeaWorld before.
Like I don't know. I don't know enough to know why it's abuse. I don't know enough to know why it's wrong. I don't know enough to know that like what are safe handling practices versus what are unsafe handling practices. Like I just don't know. Like I wish I knew. I wish I could say something on the matter of the fact.
I think the biggest issue is like, you're acting like it's a sanctuary or whatever. Oh, we're rescuing these animals. This one was hurt. They were rehabilitating him. Oh, look at this sob story. But then it's like, once it's healthy, do you like let it go and then your money goes out the door because now no one wants to come to the zoo to see this animal? You know what I mean? It's so
that's
weird.
Kind of the whole Carol thing. Carol is just doing everything that Joe did, just with paperwork behind it. You know what I mean? Like yeah. She's just trying to make it as legal as possible. And she's got
her army of fucking cats and kittens that
yeah,
love
she's got
her.
She's got all the people on the internet that are behind her. She's got all the people in real life. Everyone's like, they have slave volunteers that they work them down to the bone. Doc has all these women that he's sleeping with and he makes them work all the time.
He pays them like $100 a month or something.
Yeah, and Joe pays everyone $100 a month and, it's this big old to-do. And Carol's like, well, here we have 400 volunteers. And it's like, so free workers then? Like,
They're all
sounds the same to me. Like,
yeah, it is. I think that was the biggest thing that the documentary exposed was like Carol Baskin is no better than any of these people. And she used to have that VCR tape that she was selling about how to raise wild animals, like, and how to breed them and how to sell them. Like she literally used to do that. But then when she realized she was going to get caught for it, she changed her entire business model, changed her tune. And now she's freaking on the other side of it, reformed and trying to, it's like the gangbanger that like joins church and tries to convert other like, drug dealers.
Well, no, the way I think about it is almost like a criminal like Al Capone, like he was so deep in the criminal organizations and in control of everything that when he was about to get busted or whatever, he like pretended to be a good guy. He's like, I've changed, man. I don't run crime. I don't do crime anymore. Like, I'm a legitimate business owner and, like I'm running for a political office and, and we're going to be the people that fight the change. It's like the people, dude, you want to get a kick out of it? I know people, this is hilarious. Career scammers, lifelong scammers. Like their job is to be con men and steal money from people. They go to jail, get out of jail, and then start a company helping companies not get scammed. And what do? They access all of that information and then sell it to their friends. And then
they scam them.
and then they scam them. It's like, it's the same thing with different clothes. You know, it's quite literally the same thing. It's like, if you just zoom out, what is the same thing? There is a central location with lots of animals in a very small place. They're all collecting money in order to live the life that they want to live, and they're using the animals as a way to make money. Like, it's obvious. Like, it's pretty clear what's going on. And just because one person has a 501c3 and a huge internet presence and volunteers, and you know, we saved this old man from a traveling circus and he's a good boy tiger, and you know, the only way you'd make him mad is if you put sardine oil on him.
What? No, you didn't say that's the way to make him mad. You saying if you wanted to feed someone to them, you'd want to put something that they like sardine oil on them.
Yeah, not cologne or something.
Yeah,
I thought it was interesting how much it was obvious about how no one gives a fuck about Joe. Like, there was one where he was like inside of the cage, you know, like on one of his rants. There was multiple staff around him. There was multiple like camera people, and then he started getting attacked by a lion, and everyone just like watched.
Yeah, well, what do you expect them to do? You know, it's like one of those things where
nothing. It's like when you see two silverback gorillas fighting in a zoo, you're like, I just got to let them do it, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what are you going to do? You know, these guys are, yeah. I mean, it's sad. And there's a lot of things in the documentary that have came out afterwards that, you know, Joe, like, straight up just, like, would go and kill animals. Like, apparently there was one time there was, like, this horse that this lady had, and it was sick, and she's like, I just don't have the money to take care of it. I'm so sorry, you know, blah, blah, blah. And Joe was like, we'll take care of the horse. We'll take it in. We'll make sure it has a good home here. Don't you worry about your horse. As soon as she leaves, he like cackles and just shoots the horse in the head and feeds it to the tigers. Like, you know, he didn't give a fuck. Like but I mean, dude, to be completely honest, it's like, yo, you got a couple hundred tigers. What are you going to do? Take care of the sick horse or let your tigers have some food? You know, I don't know. There's not a right or wrong situation there. It's all wrong, you know? It's weird.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to unpack, but it's very entertaining. Like, it's just crazy. It's like, the way I think it is, like, everyone's trying to fuck everyone over. Everyone's trying to steal from everyone. Everyone's trying to scheme from someone else. Everyone's trying to, like, go above the law or around the law or into the, like, there's so much to it that's like, everyone's just trying to get one over on everyone else so that they can be like the last one standing. You know, like, exactly. I think Carol would love it if she was the last one standing. I think Doc would love it if he was the last one standing.
I mean, everyone thinks they're right, you know.
You know, and then even like the you know, Joe or not Joe, Jeff now owns Joe's park, you know, and Joe's not even in the park anymore. Like, I mean, it's one of the most insane docuseries I've seen in a long time, because it almost doesn't seem real. You're like, wait, what? You know, it's just like
it's like, it literally feels like you're watching a fiction show. Like, you're like, this can't be real. This can't be real. But it's a documentary. It's so weird.
And like, every single one of the characters like had their past and like had their secrets and was like doing shady things to like other people and like this and
it's
that.
It's kind of like
and
Breaking Bad, honestly.
In a way, yeah. There's a lot of stuff, man. You know, there's so much like serious stuff going on in the world, and like everything is so like crazy and chaotic. Like, I try to find anything I can do to escape from. Not anything. I don't want to escape, but it's like, if I can find even like 20 or 30 minutes where I just forget that I'm in the Rona, then I'm having and then it's a good time. And I found out that Jalila had never seen any of the Jackass movies ever. She'd never seen the show. She'd never seen the movies ever. And
not
the
even
thing is,
clips or anything.
No, Jalila on the inside is a 13-year-old boy. Like, she likes Family Guy. You know what I mean? Like, she loves adult cartoons. She's into like poop jokes and fart jokes, and like, she's
when
literally
I was 13, I was fucking watching Jackass, so I don't know where she fell off the boat.
I don't know, but. I don't think she was into the whole like MTV, VH1, FX things that we were into, you know?
The fucking Fantasy Factory type shit.
Yeah, and then, so she she didn't see it, and I'm starting to show it to her now, and it's so fun because we first watched like the third one or the 3.5, I don't remember, because it was on Hulu or something, and she was like just dying the whole time. And
like from laughing, or like she couldn't believe it?
Yeah, like she thought it was just fucking hilarious. Like, and she was even like gagging along. 'Cause you know how like there's like people that puke and like
some of those
like,
I
gag
have
and,
to fast forward. I'm like,
yeah,
like the one where like Steve-O puts the fish hook in his back or whatever. I'm just like, why, dude? Stop. I like the ones that are like pranking, or they're like voluntarily doing something kind of like gross, but it's also funny. But some of them are just straight up torture, and it's just like, dude.
Well, that's the whole. There's different.
This.
There's like different styles of stunts. There's like gross stunts. There's like pain stunts. There's like destruction stunts. There's like prank stunts. You know, like each one of them has their own
the
genre,
angle.
and like each particular person is like better at it. Like Bam always, fucks with his parents, and like there's one guy who always does the poop stuff. I forget his name. He's always the one doing stuff.
Dude, you remember the one
poop.
where the guy was in the like plastic like wearable sauna and like ran on a treadmill, and then the guy drank a shot of his sweat? That was so disgusting.
That was on the third one, I think. That was the first one we watched. So last night it was so funny.
AJ's gonna barf.
Jalila like came over.
Dude, that scene, it was so gross. I literally threw up after that.
A lot like.
Dude, what was that one thing that you almost? Oh, when I showed you that birth video where the girl was freaking in the bathtub.
Yeah, someone was giving birth in their bathtub, and
he almost
you saw
threw
it. You were
up.
there. I almost threw up.
This is the girl on YouTube, right?
Yeah, the girl on YouTube that spiritual Tasha Mama that does like all the weird like breastfeeding videos, and her kids are like 9 years old.
It's basically if you want to watch like dirty adult films on YouTube, but
dude, it's not even that, bro. It's even more messed up because she's basically sexualizing herself by using her kids as a way to be able to show nudity. Like she's like, oh, I can show my literal gaping butthole and vagina because it's a birth video. Like she literally just shows her like having birth. On the surface level, it's like, yeah, that's fine. That's an educational video. It's an educational experience. It's a miracle of life. She's just showing a natural process. That happens. But when you're also selling, you're using YouTube as a funnel to sell naked pictures and OnlyFans and things like that through your YouTube. And the only reason why you're able to show the nudity on your YouTube channel is involving your children in a borderline sex act. It's like, yeah, I'm all for breastfeeding videos. If it's educational, if it's, whatever, like I totally get it. Sure, it belongs on YouTube. You have to be 18. You have to click and say you're 18 to watch it. Fine. But the weird part is when you're literally using your children as a loophole to be able to show that. And the fucked up thing is like, you're not allowed to have kids in porn, but that's basically what they're doing because she's just got her tits out. And like, you can hear her in the video sometimes. She's like, come on and eat so I can make this video. If you're not eating, then I'm not allowed to have my boobs out. Like she'll say stuff like that. So it's like she knows that the only reason why she can have her tits out is because her kids are sucking on them. But she also knows that her kids are way too old to be sucking on titties. They're like 9, but she won't give it up because she knows she's making money on the side selling nudes and stuff.
There's never an age where you can't suck titties, though.
Accurate. You can't. You shouldn't be drinking breast milk from your mom's titty. But
for everyone on audio only, I'm face planting. Just
face palming.
Face palming, yeah.
I'm face planting. I'm diving down and hitting my face on the ground.
You guys are going down a weird rabbit hole, but
I mean, no, but I'm just saying AJ almost puked because he watched that video. So thanks.
Yeah, but if you guys want a good laugh, like something of just like watching grown men like beat the crap out of each other and do dumb, gross, disgusting things, watch the Jackass movies and the show. Like it is absolutely hilarious. Like Jalila came over super late last night. We were having a FaceTime conversation that was getting like, it needed to be off FaceTime, but it was late, and I was like, can you just come over? Can we come talk? Like just come over. And so we just talked, and we reached a good place, and it was like midnight or something, and I haven't been going to sleep until later, way later than that. Although I did get up at 9 this morning. Yeah, that's a success. But then she's like, well, don't get mad at me if I fall asleep like within the first couple of minutes of putting this on. Like, I'm tired. You know me. I normally go to bed at like 8 or 9. Dude, she was up laughing her ass off till 2 a.m, just dying laughing. She's like, this is the funniest shit I've seen. She's like, I can't sit still. Like, I'm constantly cringing or gagging or laughing.
It's true.
She's like,
It'll make
this
you
is
squirm.
He's like, this is the funniest thing ever. And
I'm surprised she's never watched it.
yeah, I know, it blows my mind. I'm like, wait a minute, you've really never seen it?
I feel like in like the middle, and I mean, she didn't live in the middle of nowhere, but she's from like the Midwest. I feel like people out there would have been like doing that type of stuff.
She also had a lot of girlfriends.
Yeah.
And Jackass is very much like a guy movie. Like,
accurate.
You don't see girls like doing girl Jackass. You know, like that's not really something you see.
Wonder why.
Yeah. Yo, speaking of which, Liza Schlesinger has a new comedy skit show on Netflix where she actually has one of the skits is called Female Jackass. And she'll like take one of her friends to like a door and like knock on it and be like, I just knocked on this door and inside is Betsy's ex-boyfriend and her new girlfriend, and it'll just go like run into the bushes and like leave Betsy on the front porch, and Betsy's like, oh no, and then like the new boyfriend will open up and be like, what are you doing here? And the new girlfriend will come out and they'll like start to fight.
That's
like,
funny. Yeah, girl Jackass would be totally different.
It would be like more emotional terrorism, you know.
Totally.
It wouldn't be like physical terrorism.
It wouldn't be like, I'm gonna drive this grocery cart off the roof. You remember that Family Guy episode where he does that? He's like, I'm Peter Griffin, this is Jackass. Or like whatever the fuck he does.
And then his neck is like,
yeah,
so
it's like zigzagged and he's like, eh.
Yeah.
Yo.
He's like, can you put it back? Do I put an ice pack on this? What do I do, hot or cold?
Yo, do you remember that one episode where he gets a stroke?
Yeah, it's called Mixed Stroke.
Yeah, that's one of the best episodes of all time. Because my favorite part is when he finally starts driving his car and he like slams his hand in the door and he's singing like, it's the end of the world as we know it. And he crashes into that tree next to the river. And there's those dudes on the canoe and they're like, stroke, stroke, stroke. Because they're rowing.
Oh, God.
And he goes, stop making fun of me.
Damn, that's messed up.
I lost my shit the first time I watched that.
And then he goes into the science lab and he like walks in there and he's like, how long was he in there? And he's like 5 minutes. And he's like, why the hell are we not funding this?
Yeah, it's like genetic mutations or whatever. He's like, why the hell are we not funding this?
He's like, why are we not funding this? You know what's interesting is there are some wheelchair users that are stroke survivors.
I'm sure
it usually just makes them. I think it's called a hemiplegic. I might not be sure.
No idea
I'm
what that
pronouncing
means.
that right, but basically it means either the left side of your body's paralyzed or the right side of your body's paralyzed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like either your left side or your right side, and usually
They
stroke.
drive Dodge Chargers.
Yeah, you drive a Hemi. Yeah.
Thank you
get a
for
Hemi.
understanding that. God
You
damn
get a
it, that was
Hemi.
about to fall so flat. I'm like, huh?
You get a Hemi. You drive a Hemi.
For me, so I didn't hear
That was so dumb. I'm sorry.
But I'm curious if there's actually any people who've had a stroke that are listening. If you are,
I'm sure there.
I'm curious.
I bet there is.
Yeah.
We're laughing with you.
Yeah, that's another thing. I was actually, as we were thinking about, as we were talking about this, I was thinking in my head, I'm like, are we making fun of this?
Dude,
like,
okay, here's the thing. Okay, so I was talking, so this is actually kind of funny. I matched with this girl on Tinder and we were talking and I was talking about, she was like, oh, so what do you do? Blah, blah, blah. I started talking about Wheels to Walking. And then she was talking about how she was like, dude, my grandpa has a nub. Like he's like an amputee. And like I have this weird thing because I don't like my grandpa. I have this weird thing about amputees. Like I don't like, I can't be like around them or whatever. Like she said something about that. And I'm like, whoa, that's so funny because like there's a lot of like amputees in this like world that I'm in now. And we were talking about it, whatever. And then I was like talking about how I made some joke or something. She's like, oh, that's fucked up. I'm like, yeah, but like, yeah, but I make fun of like Richard all the time. Like I just like, he's my best friend. I'm going to fuck with him. She's like, that's mean.
Yes.
I'm like, yeah, but he's a human too. Like he fucks with me. I'm going to fuck with him. Like, like I'm not going to just not attack the wheelchair part. Like, I'm not gonna make jokes. I'm not gonna not make jokes about him using a wheelchair just because it's like a touchy subject. No, motherfucker, I'm gonna joke with you. Like, I think people need more of that. Like, I think people with a stroke are probably like laughing about it because they're like, you know, people are always dancing around the subject. You know, if you go to a comedy place and people are making jokes about a wheelchair user, you're gonna crack up because it's funny. You know what I mean? It's like, we don't have to just dance around it. We, you know, I think people that, especially if they're like if they just had a stroke yesterday, maybe it's not so funny. But if you had a stroke 10 years ago and you've been in a wheelchair for 10 years or whatever, I think you can handle a couple of jokes.
Yeah, I think context matters the most when it comes to comedy. But I will agree with you that, like, I love it when I get comfortable enough with friends that they feel comfortable enough, like, poking fun at me. Like, that they feel fine, like, bullying me a little bit. That they'll be like, you know, like, they'll find and they're not making fun of the wheelchair. They're not making fun of the disability. They're making fun of me, but they're also, like, joking and laughing about, like, the parts of the disability, too. Like, and I do that, too, because I have to find humor within my own self. You know, I have to joke about all the times I've, you know, pissed and shit on myself. I joke about the times I've fallen out of my chair. I've joked about the time, you know, I joke about these things all the time. And you guys know the comedian Andrew Schultz. Like, he is notorious for making fun of people. Like, he'll make fun of, like, anybody, everyone.
He's hilarious.
And he's done it. There was one, he did a whole thing where he was like making fun of a guy in a wheelchair. He made fun of a lady who had a service dog.
There was a guy in the front row that was in a wheelchair, and he did a whole bit on it.
Yeah, like he made fun. Yeah, exactly. And it's like that person who's a wheelchair user knew what kind of comedy show he was going to, and he knew he wanted to sit up front, hoping that he would get picked on. You know, like that's kind of the whole part about like sitting up front is like you are gonna get picked on. Yo, remember you and I were at the Laugh Factory in L.A. in Huntington Beach. And
Brody Stevens was talking to us. Remember that one old lady that was really picking on me? She was going into some weird like sex fantasy joke, and then she kept looking at me. She's like, "Yeah, you want this?" I'm like, "God damn it!"
She'd be like, "This guy knows what I'm talking about."
She's like, "This young fella knows what I'm talking about." I'm like, "Oh my God!" I was definitely like turning red. And then there's that one couple that was sitting in the front row that couldn't get their hands off each other. That was so weird.
Yeah, man, but that's comedy. I
love comedy.
I think people are allowed to be offended and upset at whatever they want, except for comedians at a comedy show. Like, the side of the building says the word laugh. Like, it says comedy on the side of the building. It's like, you really gonna get mad? Oh, no, look, it's like, here's the thing. It's like, people will laugh at a comedian making fun of everything except for when it's them.
Well, sometimes, yeah.
The second it turns into them.
Sometimes people get secondhand offended, though.
Yeah, but for the most part, it's like, say there's a white guy, a black guy, an Asian guy, and a Mexican. Well, that's just not
funny.
But I'm saying, but the comedian will like make fun of the white guy, everyone laughs. The comedian makes fun of the black guy, everyone laughs. You know, the comedian makes fun of the Hispanic guy, everyone laughs. The comedian makes fun of the Asian guy, and the Asian guy's like, actually, no, I know I was laughing at the other three jokes, but now that you're making fun of me, it's not funny anymore. It's like, yes, it is. It's still hysterical.
Yeah.
You're just mad. You're just mad that they're making fun of you now because it got personal.
Wasn't it Chris D'Elia in his latest special where he was talking about comedy? It doesn't make sense to get offended when you speed it all up. Like, you paid me to tell me a joke, and then you got mad at me telling that joke. It's like,
yeah, it's like walking to me up on the street.
I didn't ask you to be here. You're paying me. Hey, here's $5. Tell me a joke. You tell the joke, and then you get mad and tweet about it. It's like,
yeah, it's like, imagine you walking up to me on the street with a $5 bill, handing me that $5 bill and go, tell me a joke. I tell you the joke, and then you go, fuck you, I hate you, and leave.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Like, didn't you just pay me to tell the joke?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what's going on here? Also, the thing that's important about I think comedy is closely tied to free speech because it's comedians that are pushing the boundaries. It's comedians that are pushing the limits. It's comedians finding what's funny and what's not funny, what's offensive and what's not offensive. And they're the only people really doing it, and they got to take risks. So sometimes they do cross the line. But if we lived in a society with no comedy, people wouldn't be able to say anything. We'd start speaking in sound effects. We'd start like jokes would be like Ow, and everyone's like, ah, he didn't say any words, but that's funny.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, what's happening these days? And it's like, Jesus, man.
I would say some weird niche meme humor is kind of in that vein, but I think it's more edgy than that, probably.
Yeah, I guess Kanye West is currently on some weird bender where he's talking about how, like, language is the lowest form of communication. I'm going to communicate with my friends in beeps.
Really?
Oh, he's lost it, dude. Look into it. It's crazy.
Weird.
Kanye's...
Did he tweet about it or something recently?
I don't know. Chris talked about it on today's podcast. You'll have to...
Oh, I need to see it.
Have to listen to it. So
Yeah,
guess
he's
what
off
I
his
went and
rocker.
did? As you guys know, I've been more diligent in my research in my videos, and I've been writing things with scripts, and I've been just really focusing during the week, putting more time into preparation. And if you guys remember when I did the coronavirus video, I pretty much like scared myself to the point where I couldn't even like look at the news or talk about it for like a month because I in so much research I scared the shit out of myself. So we've got a video coming out soon called How to Live Longer, which is basically all of the things you can do to slow down your aging process as a wheelchair user. So in order for me to do that, I had to look into the effects of aging as a wheelchair user, specifically with a spinal cord injury, and all the complications and the difficulties and the challenges and this and that, and, you know, watching really long videos of like conferences of people talking and reading really long research papers and, you know, like checking out interviews with other wheelchair users that have been, you know, wheelchair users for a very long time. But it pretty much like put me in this corner where I'm like, oh no, I'm sad and afraid now. Like I did this life expectancy calculator. I'm only going to live for 3.5 more years. What up?
Wait, what?
Yeah, you can do like a lot, like how long can I live with a spinal cord injury?
Wait, but why would
calculator?
it say 3.5 years?
Because most people can in the 1940s, if you got a spinal cord injury, no one lived longer than 18 months. And they usually always died from like kidney and urinary problems or respiratory problems. Like they would just die. Like they go in autonomic dysreflexia. They couldn't empty their bladder. Catheters didn't even really exist. Like,
yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Like there's a whole bunch of stuff. And then once we hit like 1965, you could live, so another 25 years later, you were able to live 15 years after your injury date. So if you got injured, you had 15 years to live. Those studies haven't been re-upped since. So you do the calculator. I got injured at 20. I'm gonna die at 35 supposedly.
Oh yeah, but we all know wheelchair users that have been injured for way longer than that.
Oh yeah, 30, 40, 50, 60 years. We know people that have been around for a while. Yeah. But it's definitely I've scared the shit out of myself in this video.
What's it's not scary? I mean, I guess the video will come out next week, so people will see it. But
well, the video is not going to be scary at all. The video is going to be sick. The video
but
is going to
scary to you that there's just so many unknowns that you forgot about or you didn't know.
There's
about?
a lot of unknowns. There's a lot of complications. There's a lot of risk. There's a lot of possibility for decreased quality of life, and it's just, I mean, it's everything from like, you know, depression and pain and bowel problems and bladder problems and skin problems and stuff with your heart and your liver and your kidneys and your prostate and cancers and obesity and bone and joint problems and and shoulder problems.
I mean, you're at a greater risk for all those things. It is weird though, because I mean, we're all just sacks of flesh. I mean, we're all, so I mean, shit, I could walk outside my door and get hit by a car right now. You know what I mean? So it's like, you're at a greater risk for all these things, but you're a really healthy person. You take care of yourself. Like you are doing it the best you can to, you know, do these things. You're not obese. You're not, you know, like I think you're probably on the very high end of that spectrum. And I think there's probably a lot of people that are completely able-bodied that are not taking care of their health that are in a way worse position, you know? Not pain-wise and stuff, but like life expectancy-wise.
Totally. You know, I think about it also like, I'm German, English, and Irish. I've never looked into genetic predispositions and problems related to my German heritage. I've never looked into the longevity problems with my Irish heritage or with my English heritage. I mean, why would I do that? I don't, you know, I've never looked into like, oh, these are all the ways that you're going to age poorly and that you might die young.
I think that's weird.
Why would any normal person do that? No normal person's going to do that. It's usually until you're like 45 to 60 that those things. Or something. Yeah, if you're like 45 to 60 and like those things start kicking in or whatever. But, you know, I just think I'm doing all this research. It's like, and I can just imagine like all these worst case scenarios. And like, I know a lot of people that are in these worst case scenarios, and it's just scary. It's just scary because I'm like, oh, fuck. And there's like a lot of recommendations that I'm not following because I didn't know any better. And like there's what? Also like, I don't really want to think too much about it, but like an example would be like, I didn't know I should get a pneumonia vaccine every 5 to 10 years. You know, I didn't know that like my upper urinary needed to be scoped yearly. You know, these are just, you know, recommendations, you know, from a cystoscopy standpoint or whatever. You know, there's just like so much stuff that I'm like, oh, fuck, didn't know. You know, like I didn't know there's just so much. There's a lot of greater risks involved, and it's mostly all like secondary complications. Like the spinal cord injury itself is the reason, and then the lack of the nerves being able to connect from your brain down to the rest of your body, all of those secondary complications.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
And even other complications, like the fact that after I got hit by the car, this wrist is fucked more than this wrist was. And wrist problems are like a huge problem for people that use manual wheelchairs. Same things with like elbows. Like this elbow was jacked up in the first, you know, accident and 10 years ago. And it's like, oh, dang, when are my shoulders going to go out? Are my shoulders going to go out? Like there's just like so much to it.
You're just going to have to become more of the Bionic Man. You're going to have to get more Iron Man parts, bro.
I don't know. And it's like, you know, oh, well,
you're already full of metal.
Yeah, it's like more, and it's like the more active you are, the more risks there are, but also the more active you are, the more preventative you are.
Yeah, of course, man. I mean, life is a series of trade-offs. I mean, shit, like
it's this weird balance that it just put me into a place where I'm like, after I spent 2 days of pretty much just research. That's when I messaged you last night. I was like, yo, this video is not getting done tonight.
No, it's fine. The thing is, I think with that, it's like life is a series of trade-offs, right? It's like you can't just do one thing without it affecting the other thing. Like there's like a scale. Yeah. So it's
Facts.
You can't when you're active, you're going to be a healthier person like overall, but there's always risks involved. For example, I was a dumbass and I was trying to do box jumps. Not because I was trying to be a dumbass, but because I wanted to be more healthy and I wanted my legs to be stronger. But what did I do? I fucked up my leg, and I could have easily gotten like an infection or something in my leg from having that giant hole. I could have had to go to the hospital and had to get stitches and like all this stuff. It's like, shit, you know? Yeah, I'm being more at risk, but also, you know what's more at risk? Laying around all the time and never moving my body. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to have long-term problems versus these short-term, like weird little things. You know, for example, you could always be so crazy about germs, even from birth. Like you could be, you know, using antibacterial soap and all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. And like your immune system never gets any practice. So as soon as you come in contact with even the most simplest forms of germs, you get sick. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, it's a very weird trade-off, you know. And right now is one of those times where it's like a lot of people that are always like, nah, I never wash my hands, man. I'm good. My immune system's good. It's like now's the time to like supplement your immune system. Yeah, your immune system might be good, but like right now we're in the middle of a pandemic, so maybe you should wash your hands a little more, or maybe you should be a little more cautious. Maybe you should use that antibacterial soap because over the past years you have built up a lot of immunity, but you should still be more careful right now or whatever. And I think like everything's a trade-off, and yeah, you might be more like at risk than other people, but I mean, I think that, even those recommendations, you're like, shit, I didn't know about that or whatever. Dude, there's people that are still doing dumb stuff that they think, like, there's people that don't even know the first thing about nutrition. There's people that still don't know, the first thing about exercising or whatever. And you're definitely in a better position than a lot of people, I think.
No, you're totally right. And I'm not saying like I'm in a bad position or like a worse position. It's one of those.
But you like human optimization, and you don't like to be feeling like you're at a disadvantage.
Yeah, exactly. I don't like looking at data that's been collected for, I mean, almost 80 plus years now.
Yeah.
And looking at all of like the commonalities and all the situations and all the correlations and like all the changes that occur and happen over time, and what certain things could mean and what certain things don't mean, and like even the dangers of, like, for example, like, we don't have any extra high risks of, like, say, rectal cancer, for example, but because we don't have like regular feeling or function, we don't notice any symptoms.
So if you do have rectal cancer, you wouldn't even know. That makes sense.
We wouldn't even know to go to the doctor, because like nothing would change for us. It would just be like the same thing, like, there's just a lot, there's even like I don't know, there's just a lot of it. And even the one thing that got me messed up the most was like reading, I forget what it was called. It was something, they used a word for it, but basically it's like when problems cause problems, where it's like you go to the hospital for like one reason, and like that reason causes another problem, which causes another problem, which causes another problem. I mean, I'm kind of doing that right now. Like,
with the blood clot stuff. It's like you might have had blood clots for years, but it wasn't an issue, but then once you got hit by the car, then it became an issue, and then they figured out it was a big thing, and now you're on blood thinners, and now your hair's falling out, and now blah, 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 blah. It's a domino effect. I totally get it. It sucks.
Exactly. And it's like, it's just like one after another after another after another, but there's a lot of like,
my old roommate, it was like the same thing, dude. Like every time there was something wrong, it was always something else. And then it was something else. And then it was something else. And then it was something else. And you never know what's causing what. Correlation equals causation. You're so confused. You just want answers, but you're not getting any. The doctors don't seem to really know what's going on. They're grasping at straws. You're grasping at straws. You're doing your own research. You're freaking out. You want your doctors to do one thing, but they want to do another. You're wondering if they're motivated by money or your actual health. Like, it's all fucky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's weird, but I've pretty much just like, I'll be excited when this video comes out and it doesn't have the energy that I feel towards it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the point of the video is like all about prevention, basically. It's like, you want to live longer, do these things so you can avoid all of these things that completely destroy you in the long run. But the only way I was able to research that was find out about all the things that destroy you in the long run and the preventative measures you take in order to avoid them, so that I can then demonstrate and then teach the viewers, everyone else, like,
but
hey,
that's
these
kind
are
of
the
the
things.
importance of teaching, bro. Like, you can be willfully ignorant and just like, well, I don't even know this stuff. So, whether it affects me or not, I don't know it. So like, whatever. Or you can learn it so well that you can teach it. And that's when you become like an expert, Like, for example, you could be so good at a certain thing to a certain point, but until you have to teach it to someone, you might not even realize that you've been not doing the technique completely perfect. Like, for example, I've been talking
Straight
about...
up, I'm learning a lot about that too. The more I'm like, oh geez, I'm doing all these things that technically aren't right.
Yeah, like, a lot of people hit me up for like Photoshop stuff all the time, and I'm like, well, this is how I would do it. It's probably not the right way, but like, this is how I normally do it, because I've never bothered to figure out the right way. But it's like, well, if I'm going to be teaching people, I should probably look it up. And then I look it up and I'm like, oh, they've thought of this. Like, there's a workaround for this. Like, I could have been doing it this way for years. And I could beat myself up for it and been like, I've been fucking wasting my time doing this dumb thing for years and years, and been, my workflow sucks and blah, blah, blah. Or I can just be like, okay, from now on, I'll do it this way and I'll save time in the future. But like, I'm not going to beat myself up for like doing the wrong thing. But now I know, and now I can teach other people,
Yeah, it's definitely, yeah. You gotta know how to do it wrong before you can teach it how to do it right.
That's pretty true. You got to know the rules before you can break them too.
Yeah, and in the process of me learning how to do this to help our longevity last, or whatever I'm trying to say, help us live longer, I've learned I could do better too. Yeah, it's gonna be another one of these good. It's gonna be another very important video that I think not a lot of people are gonna see now, but like over time, it's
It'll affect a lot of people.
gain. Just
That's
like
good.
all of our wheelchair basics videos, man. And that's kind of like, I guess, the beauty of this unfortunateness of being like stuck in quarantine.
Is it more of a
is I
spinal
got-
cord injury basics, or is it a wheelchair basics? Because it seems like a lot of it is spinal cord injury.
A lot of it is spinal cord injury related, but a lot of it also correlates to wheelchair users, period.
Yeah.
Not just spinal cord injury. So it's like I'm gonna find a way to like write it to where we can, do it from the top down of like, this affects everybody. This affects like this type of person. This affects this type of person. So no one starts the video and it's like,
Oh, this
all right,
isn't
let's
for
talk
me,
about. Yeah, it's like, oh, let's talk about cathing, and everyone's gonna be like, what are you talking about? Or be like,
Yeah.
all right, and this is how I do a skin check, and they're gonna go, I don't do skin check.
Yeah,
What
because
are
it
you
was funny.
talking about?"
Some people on the transfer video, they were like, I didn't realize that this was a thing, because like I can walk a little bit, so I didn't realize like why people would need a transfer. It's like you just stand up and you transfer. Like they're like, oh, gotcha. This is a whole different world.
Yee. All right, boys. I think that's our.
Speaking of walking
time.
again, though, we're gonna be making another Facebook group or community or something, right? Because I think a lot of
So
the Facebook the Wheels to Walking podcast Facebook group has been growing, and a lot of people have been posting in there, which is awesome. But we want to keep the conversations in there more about the topics of the podcast and more of a discussion place, not as much of a like support group, I guess, like. Or like, I don't even know what to call it, but like a lot of the posts in there recently have been more like, look at my progress or whatever, which is awesome. But I feel like we both feel like that maybe needs to go in a different group.
Yeah.
AJ just knocked down his green screen.
He knocked down a studio. Yeah, but yeah, they're
Now we know the truth.
the Wheels to Walking podcast discussion group was meant to expand on discussions that you and I have already had inside of the podcast, so that the people listening could also have their say and their opinions about what we've discussed on the podcast. So we haven't discussed people's personal rehabilitation journeys, so that doesn't really belong there. But where it does belong is going to be the place that we're going to put it, which we're going to create. I guess we'll call it Wheels to Walking support group or something.
Yeah, or
I haven't
like
even
Wheels to
decided
Walking
yet.
community or something.
Yeah, because we'll make a community that it's like all things video related, and maybe we can even start plugging that in our videos and be like, hey, we got a really cool Facebook
Join the
group
support
in our
groups
videos.
or whatever. Because originally we didn't want to make a support group because we felt like there was already a lot of other good ones out there that we were like,
There are
we didn't
so
want to
many
take the
good
time
ones.
to like manage another support group or whatever. But I think people are really into what we're doing and how we're kind of like framing it in a different way. And I think it's really like speaking to a lot of people. So they'd rather be like a part of the Wheels to Walking community versus just like spinal cord injury or disability in general or whatever.
Yeah, and I think also, like, there's a lot of people in our group that aren't just one disability.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Most of the support groups are like spinal cord injury support group, EDS, HEDS support group, POTS small group, transverse myelitis small group, insert the blank group, and it's like, let's just make a Wheels to Walking community. So it's like if you're
happy and
you
you know
use
it,
a
clap your hands.
yeah, wheelchair support group basically.
Awesome.
Yeah, but that's just the final notes. I gotta hopefully today my mission is to find this inner tube and then to install this inner tube and then write the rest of this video so that we can
Film it
shoot tomorrow.
potentially, hopefully.
Or maybe Saturday. I don't know. There's a lot. This is gonna be
And
a
then
banger.
I have one day to edit.
Well,
let's film tomorrow.
I'm gonna listen. I'm not sitting here. I'm not setting the expectation that we're not
I know.
gonna shoot tomorrow. I'm just saying this is a doozy, and I want to make sure I get it right.
Indeed. Well, I think that's everything. Follow us on places.
Time to drop that harsh end. Boom.